And in breaking news, convicted serial killer and rapist Napoleon Dingiswayo escaped from Pretoria's C-Max prison at 12:15 this afternoon, along with serial rapist and armed robber Andries Mate and heist kingpin Sifiso Khumalo. Welcome to the Bookshelf. Today we're in conversation with best-selling author Angela Makholwa, and she's the author now of The Reed Dance Stalker. But such a dramatic opening of The Reed Dance Stalker with the breaking news. Why that approach?
Well, I mean, Red Ink ended on quite a cliffhanger, and I obviously had to really think about bringing the reader back in and gripping them from the very beginning, without leaving the loose end kind of dangling, because, you know, it ends, it's a bit of a spoiler, but it ends with quite a big reveal. So Red Ink is the prequel to The Reed Dance Stalker. And
having read the Red Ink, which was your debut novel, one with this, the follow-up or the sequel, you can still follow the story, even if you haven't read the Red Ink. It's an advantage to have read it, but nonetheless, you can still follow the story.
So tricky, Sindy. I always speak to my fellow authors who write sequels, and I always say that I just found it such a delicate dance, a delicate balance between trying to grip somebody who is new to, you know, this story. So assuming that somebody can read this without having read Red Ink, and ensuring that they can keep up with the storyline. So that was actually quite a challenge for me. And also, you can imagine, Red Ink I wrote, what, 16 years ago?
That's crazy.
Yes, so, and also just going back to Lucy Kambule's character, my protagonist, who is loosely based on me, very loosely, I might add. Yeah, it was emotional as well, other than being challenging, because it's going back to the girl that I was that many years ago, and just trying to reimagine everything else that would have happened from where we ended up in Red Ink.
Yeah, and I mean, for a debut novel as well, it was quite gripping. You know, I think one of the commentators said that we should read your novels in the daytime, because it's quite scary, the way you define and develop your characters, the villain in particular, the gory scenes. It's just blood, gore, and everything out there. For such a dainty person, it's hard to believe. But nonetheless, it really is, it reads beautifully, and it's gripping, and it's believable. What is the source of that inspiration?
I read a lot of crime fiction, but I also read, I mean, I keep up with the news. And I think, as a South African woman specifically, you know, thinking about the violence in this country and how endemic it is, you know, to our society, it's something that does keep me up at night. But I feel, for me, I feel better facing it head on. And I suppose through the character of Lucy Kambule, it's beautiful for me to have that female protagonist who is fearless, who refuses to back away from that which threatens her the most, because that which threatens her the most is a daily reality for a lot of women in South Africa.
So how have you tried to find a balance and capture the dark elements that happen, especially in brutal crimes that we've seen even in the country? But of course, this being a work of fiction, nonetheless, it has to be believable and realistic.
Yeah, it is. It's not a comfortable place to go to as a writer. But I always feel that, you know, South Africa, as violent as we are, we rarely actually write about crime. It's something that I think is so much in our faces that we tend to shy away from it. But the reality is that it is, you know, part of the fabric, in a way. I know it's a horrible thing to say, of our society. And I feel like the more we run away from it, the more incessant it becomes, because we don't even stop and think, is it a psychological thing? Is it about our family structure? Is it about our moral compass as a people? What is it about? So I feel like if we interrogate the issues, we would get closer to unraveling why we are the way that we are.